Denzel's first Oscar, because my man is playing chess, not checkers. CB, welcome, bro.
Thank you.
What's your relationship to this movie? I know you're fresh on it.
This movie is an all-time classic for me. I would put it in my top 25.
For sure.
It's something I rewatch once every 5-6 years. It's my favorite. That's so hard to say. Very close favorite, if not top 5, which is saying a lot for Denzel. Definitely for me, it's my closest relationship to Ethan Hawke.
Oh, yeah.
I recognize it right away. I think it's some of the best acting out of those two that anyone can aspire to. I think it's a great plot. It's a quick hitter. It's not dragged out. I think it's a perfect length of a movie. And it kind of hits home because it gives you that detective feel everyone wants, but it also gives you the corruption feel that everyone thinks is happening but doesn't know for sure, and it puts it in a cinematic perspective where you can actually kind of dive into it, what it might feel like to be corrupt. There's a couple other documentaries that are similar to this, like the Brooklyn 7-5, where you see the corruption, but this one is the only real movie aside from maybe American Gangster where you see that corruption, but it's not as noir as American Gangster. It's more fun. There's more cameos in it. This is a movie that I think can be watched by anyone. It's not super gory. It's not super, there's a little bit of cussing, but it's not anything crazy. It's something that, to me, stands the test of time.
Well said, my friend. So, you mentioned plot, so I'll give the audience a storyline for those that haven't seen it in a while or those that need a refresher. So it's set in Los Angeles. It comes out in 2001. So this is probably the first time that we've seen Ethan Hawke on a big screen in a few years since Dead Poet Society, which was his big breakout thing with Robin Williams. This is the first time that we've seen Denzel in a role where he's not the hero, or he's not the person that you're supposed to be rooting for, but in fact he is. In Los Angeles, it's a city where streets are overrun by drug dealers. Those who have sworn to uphold the law are breaking them to clean up the streets. Denzel plays LAPD Detective Alonzo Harris. He's a veteran narcotics officer whose methods of enforcing the law are questionable, if not corrupt. Training day follows Harris as he trains rookie Jake Hoyt, who is played by Ethan Hawke. Now, just like the title suggests, this is a one-day movie. It's a 24-hour period. Ethical dilemmas arise for Hoyt as well as the audience, as questions present themselves as to whether or not Harris's methodology for ridding the streets of South Central Los Angeles drugs is right or wrong. But you also get to find out that maybe Alonzo is not who we think he is on the outset. So this is a movie that falls under crime, drama, thriller. It takes place in a day. It moves very quickly. And there is a good balance of action, drama, suspense, and mystery along with it, where you're trying to figure out what exactly is happening today. So is there a performance in this that sticks out to you besides our two leads, or those two just commanding the screen so much that it's hard to think of anybody else?
There's a few of my favorite cameos in this. Before I get to that, actually, I just want to touch on something you said earlier. 2001, how important this is. 1992 is the Rodney King riots.
Yes.
This kind of hits home because the 90s, early 2000s, this is kind of, and even before that, the crack epidemic and everything. LA, the jungle, it's all a real thing.
Yeah.
Bloods and Crips, you can't go down there. They won't send cop cars. I've seen plenty of documentaries on this. I'm a huge crime buff. It is such a good movie because it's not long after or even during the height of Los Angeles and a corrupt police force and gang violence. This hits home, especially if you're from LA, which I'm not, but I can imagine it hits home. It's like a New York movie where they're talking about corruption in the 70s or 80s. So back to my favorite cameos, it would have to be, there's a couple.
I already know
this
one
is a
that you're going to
toss-up.
say.
This is a toss-up. I'll go with my first one that makes this movie. There's some cameos that you need to have them. If you don't have them, the movie's not as good. It's like icing on the cake. You go to a party and it's that one friend you're not really cool with, but you're so glad he's there. And this one for me was Snoop Dogg.
Oh, yes.
I was so glad he was in there, and he is weirdly a phenomenal actor. He was also in Boys in the Hood, I believe. He portrays the bad guys so well, probably because they're just like act like you would 10 years ago.
Right.
He was my favorite. Eva Mendes, number 2. Just a plain old simple wife. Other guys reference, but she is absolutely gorgeous. The Spanish twist. It's so weird that the jungle's like an all black Crip neighborhood, but like she's allowed in there, I guess. Or it's just weird that Denzel is in the very back there, like hiding from everyone because no cops will come there, but he's the only guy who can be in there, and she lives there with him. And it's just, I don't know, it's kind of weird, but it's really cool that Denzel speaks all these different languages. Like when he arrests Snoop and he's speaking Korean or whatever it was. And then with her, he speaks Spanish. He's just so cool in this. Aside from those two, I don't like it because I don't think he's a great actor. So this is a cameo I didn't like seeing, and this was Dr. Dre.
Okay, yeah.
I would have rather that been anybody else. He's cool to see, but I don't think he's a good actor.
I can't argue with that. We'll get to him later. But I would say, so the movie runs 2 hours, 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's pretty like, but it is fairly nonstop. There's really not lull. The slowest part of it is like the very beginning where you're getting introduced to Jake and his baby and all that stuff. Yeah. So, another thing, this came out in 2000 after September 11th attacks, which I think might have stunted some of the original praise that the movie would have gotten, but it still ends up doing very well. It had a $45 million budget, and it grossed almost 105 million worldwide. Pretty good. 22 million opening weekend, which was October 7th. So not bad for the timing, considering everything else that was going on at the time. There's, as you said, there's a lot of languages in this movie too, which is interesting. So you get English, you get a little Russian, you get a little Spanish, you get some Korean, and you get some Greek thrown in there too. It's got a lot of elements to it that are different than a lot of the other movies that we've reviewed. Because usually if we're going to review a movie and it's got cops in it, it's probably a buddy cop kind of movie, or there's a big case that they're trying to solve. That's not the case at all with this. the case that they're trying to solve, Jake is figuring out as he's going. He signs up there to be a detective. He wants to make detective. So he's got to branch out and start doing tougher things so that he can climb and ascend to that level. So he's going there with all good intentions, thinking, oh man, maybe I'm just getting my balls busted by a hard teacher. But turns out that as the movie progresses, you start piecing a lot of things together that Alonzo is making him do and telling him what not to do, and all the uncomfort or discomfort that Jake feels the whole time that he starts brushing off after maybe the first 45 minutes of the movie. It all starts coming back because the day progressively gets worse and worse and worse, and it's not exponentially worse. It's a linear progression, but it's also, he cannot come to terms with what he is seeing and what he is being asked to do and what he's been made to do, because it's against his moral code. And to see the corruption, I think we all have that little voyeur in us that wants to see the stuff that we've never experienced, or the stuff that we know is out there or we think is out there, but we're too afraid to go see it for ourselves. That's why we live in movies or live in TV. And he gets to see up close and impersonal how corrupt the LAPD, which has a history of corrupt, all the major city police departments have some kind of baggage with them, right? You can't have that many cops in a city that size and not have some kind of corruption attached to it. But to see it firsthand for him was eye-opening, and he didn't like it at all.
No,
and so he flips the script.
I think one of the important themes of this movie, and it's one of the best sales pitches of all time. It's after the climax of the movie. They're in the car. Denzel's giving him a sales pitch. In order to change the game, you got to play the game, Jake. You got to get inside the game first, and then you can get to my level, and then you can change it. But the thing what ends up saving him is the one time he didn't play the game.
Yes.
And he saved the girl.
Yep.
And that's what ends up changing the game for him. And that was full circle moment. Wait, this guy is full of crap.
Yeah, he's full of crap. I don't believe a word this guy says anymore. So seeing that, I think what commands this movie and what makes it resonate is, with any Denzel movie, he is the most charming MF you've ever seen in your life. He is so charismatic, and this is the first role that he's done where he's the bad guy, but he is a wolf with a great smile.
Dude,
he can command a room, and he is the alpha of alphas.
If I could be anyone aesthetically, it's him in this movie. If I came back to life, they're you're sure this is what you want to look like?
Yes.
This is what I want to look like.
Give me the leather jacket, give me the chains, give me that beautiful freaking smile.
Yep, it was unbelievable.
I think it's the best villain arc ever that we've seen in a cop thriller. And like I said, most cop movies, we're trying to solve a case. We're trying to think of Seven. Think of, there's really not a whole lot. Maybe Copland might be the only one that I can think of off the top of my head where it's really trying to pursue corruptness within the police department. But that's not this. This is, I think what makes this movie resonate is it's so intimate, and it's not just these two guys, but for most of the movie, it's just these two guys. And so you get to put yourselves in one of their shoes. You're either one or the other. And most of us are going to be Jake.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going in there innocent, and we're coming out like I've seen things that I didn't ever expect to see. And he finds out how much he's got in him throughout the day.
Yep.
And I think there is a strength in that average people can gravitate towards, because basically he was pushed to the brink and he had a choice. I can either fight back and put an end to this and stand up for what I believe in, stand up for myself, or I let him do what he wants to do.
Yep.
And he doesn't.
And that can go the corporate world, that can go at home, that can go anything. I think that another movie that it's not a parallel to this movie, but it's the same immersion of what would you do in this scenario? Do you man up is End to Watch?
Oh, yeah.
I think that was like, what are you capable of? And that's more so actually two good partners fighting everything, but they still, when he takes the belt off and everything and he's not supposed to do that. He kind of goes bad for good. But that's what makes this movie so special is you actually get to be riding with the bad guy the whole time.
The whole time. So I think that this is, when I'm doing the research for this movie online and I'm reading through stuff, there was one line that I saw that somebody wrote that stuck with me. And it was like, if Death Row Records had an LAPD, that is who Alonzo would be. He is that police department for that, which is totally true. But he is this monster that is cloaked in charisma. He's the final boss of all these. I would say, honestly, probably one of the most compelling American villains that we've seen. That's an anti-hero, because he's the only one that I can think of. There's more now mostly on television, not really so as much in the movies, but one of those villains that you're actually rooting for the whole time. And even when you figure it out and you're like, oh, I don't know if I should be doing this, but he commands that camera in such a way. I don't think anybody else can pull this off in the manner in which Denzel pulled this off. I don't think it's possible. Not Russell Crowe, not Al Pacino, not
Will Smith.
De Niro, definitely not Will Smith. I don't think anybody could have done this. It's also our first big-time glimpse into Antoine Fuqua. So he directs this, and if that name is not familiar to you, he ends up doing the Equalizer franchise with Denzel, not the CBS one with, oh my God, Queen Latifah. Cut it out. He does, essentially handles all of Denzel's like action stuff after this. Incredible. Just the way that it's shot. I don't think there was anything that was, we've done at least one Denzel movie so far on this podcast. We've done Man on Fire. I don't know. We did Remember the Titans. I don't know if people remember that one. This is in a different vein unto itself. It doesn't have any kind of special camera work or anything like that. The cinematography is fine. It's not like, documentary style. I think what makes it special is just being in the car with those two guys most of the day.
We in the office.
We in the office. And then it's how Denzel delivers his lines. It's not so much what he says, although what he says is compelling. It's his delivery is always like, I just want to be around this guy and hear what he has to say at all times.
I'm trying to think. This is one of two movies that this shows his range. He's usually quiet. You can't really tell his cultural background. He kind of speaks in an even tone, even accent. In this movie, you know that he's got a little hood in him.
Yes.
You also see this a little bit in American Gangster, but I think it's the only two movies where he uses the N-word.
I think so. Yeah.
In the rest of them, I don't think he doesn't ever like try to, like hone into, hood or he's always even. Like you can't really. He could blend in any culture. He could be Mediterranean. He could be anything. And in this movie, he's from the jungle. And
he does a great job of representing what we perceive to be that world.
Yes.
And it's also funny too, because like Denzel is a New York guy.
Mm-hmm.
He grew up in, I want to say Brooklyn or Queens. And so is Ethan Hawke. I think he grew up in the burbs, so somewhere in around Connecticut, I think. So he had to train in. But they're both New York guys playing these LA cops. And so I think there is a grit to New York City that LA doesn't have. So having those two characters bring that to the West Coast, or two actors, basically enveloping those characters. They became them and did it so freaking seamlessly. I think the cameos in this, there's a lot of people in here that you're like, I know that guy, or I feel like I've seen that face before, or I could totally see that. Like everything about it is believable too, which is scary. So when you think about it, it's the guys that play the other corrupt cops, save Dr. Dre. The guy is, oh my God, he's the bad guy in Mask.
Yeah, he is. Also the three wise men.
The three wise men.
You've seen them before.
100%. You've seen them all before. You have Eva Mendes, who is an absolute 10 out of 10 times 10. I mean, Jesus. Ryan Gosling, love you, brother.
Yeah, dude.
Way to go, pal. And she's in it for 3 minutes.
Also, the Trace gang.
Yes!
The guy, I forget his name, Mugliani, or I got it right here. He's almost in every single movie as the Spanish guy.
Are you surprised it wasn't Danny Trejo?
So, but this guy and Danny Trejo, they're in every movie. His name's Noel Guglielmi.
Yes.
He's in and he's so good. He's in funny movies. He's in serious movies. The only guy I was surprised not to see is the one from, what's the movie where the guy gets in prison that I always bring up, and it's, he's the Passion of the Christ.
Oh, Jim Caviezel?
Yes. What's the movie where he fights the guy on the beach? And he's in prison, and his best friend knows his life.
Count of Monte Cristo.
Okay, so that guy on the beach that he fights is,
yes.
I'm surprised he wasn't in here.
Luis Guzman.
He's amazing.
Yes.
Dude.
Guzman's in a ton of stuff, but him and like John Leguizamo kind of make me laugh so much that I can't see them in a role like this. Although I would have loved to have seen them in the house with them, rather than the guy who just
dude, that guy ruined it.
He gets the overacting award for this pod. I'm just gonna say that right now. Spoil that. But even like the small roles, like, did you know Macy Gray was in this?
Who's Macy Gray?
Oh my. So Macy Gray is a singer. She's the one when Denzel goes into the stash house pretending like he has a warrant and it's a takeout menu.
Yeah.
The one who is, they tell her to sit down on the couch. She got the long ass Macy Gray.
Boys. Your boys. Yeah, that one. She's famous?
Yes.
Oh,
famous singer.
And she's an amazing actress in that.
Damn good. Plays that perfectly.
Amazing.
So she's in it. I mean, we already talked about our boy Snoop. He is fantastic in it. And Snoop in a wheelchair is something that I never had on my bucket list, but now I've got it. And, God forbid he ever can't walk. He would be just fine in a wheelchair.
He makes being in a wheelchair cool.
Oh, my God. All right. Let's get into scenes. Okay. The diner intro. Power dynamic is set instantly. The Jake test begins. So from that point, he thinks everything's a test. Thoughts on that scene? Does that rope you in
the
right
diner
away?
with the three wise men?
Yeah. No.
The first scene.
The very first scene. Diner intro. Him meeting Denzel.
Honestly, I'm going through that right now. I'm Jake at work, and like, it's funny. They're like, "Why are you being so quiet?" Anytime I speak, it's like, "Oh my, did you open your mouth? Poor guy, you're so stupid. It was a test. You're not supposed to talk. You're supposed to do as we say. And then if you do what we say, you're an idiot." So it's like you can't win. So I felt for Jake because everybody's been there starting their career and you got to go through it. I don't care if you're in the NFL or you work at a landscaping company. You're never going to be the guy right away. You're going to have to go through the levels of management, and that means a little bit of hazing, a little bit of this is how it goes. This is our top dog. You got to ride with him. And he's usually, is this guy here to take my job or is this guy going to make my life harder until they figure you out? And sometimes it's even when you're the manager and you get hired somewhere and the guys who have been working there have been there forever. And this is even a weirder situation, but you come in as the manager later and they've all been working there. You still have to go through that. And it's just a part of, I guess, the vetting process for anybody to trust you. But I think every single person can commiserate with that unless you were literally, even if you were born into it, you can commiserate it like from the other perspective I said, where you got to get the respect from the guys below you now. So that was a scene that I think was the best kickstart to the movie because it shows you, and great acting on Jake's part, what it's like when you really want something, what you're willing to put up with, and also when you're ignorant of what you want, as in this case it was, I want to be a detective but I know nothing about it. You're going to let things slide because you think, well, I guess this is how it is. It just sets the believability of the movie right off the jump for Jake, and it sets the tone for Denzel as the superior dog in this situation. It was, I think, a crucial scene, and you also get the best banter of him saying, well, if I can't read my paper, then you entertain me. And it's like,
You entertain me.
that's your first glimpse at this is Denzel. Actually, the first one was when he calls the house and he hangs up.
Yes.
Like, that was such another power move. Anybody who doesn't say bye, it's a power move. So I love that scene because it sets the tone for the movie. Now we can start.
We're off.
Now when you get in the car, you're going to do exactly what I say.
Yes.
So I love that scene.
Well said, man. He sets the bar right from Jump Street.
Yep.
And it is, I think you buckle up as an audience ready for, this can be a long fucking day for Jake.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going to be. So we go from that. We get the PCP test.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be in narcotics, you got to have narcotics in your blood. He says, come on, man. I'm not doing that. No, we get tested. Captain's on our team. Gives us a week notice before we get any kind of test. Why don't you go ahead and hit that, son? He's like, are you serious? Dead serious. I mean, no, right? No.
Yeah.
He's trying to do all the right things.
All the right things because you think it could be a test. Like, I'll just say no. And then he gets yelled at with a gun to his head.
That's right. And then he's like, oh my God, okay, fine. Just give it to me. Give it to me. Fine. So he takes it and he doesn't know that it's PCP. He thinks it's just marijuana.
Yep.
When's the last time you smoked marijuana? Maybe in high school. And then he's like, oh my God, what is in that? Starts seeing things. He's like, ha ha, you just smoked PCP. But he gives it about 5,000 nicknames.
Dude, this is the other thing that made it so real for me. Like this first car scene, back to the diner, this is the part I love the most about the whole movie. Ethan Hawke's acting as the new guy trying to blend in. I don't think anyone else has done it this well. The scene in the very beginning in the car when he was like, so why'd you want to be a police officer? Why do you want to make detective? Why do you want to be in narcotics? And he's like, well, so I can help the community and get, why do you want to be in narcotics?
Yep.
And he actually laughs. He's like, yeah, why do you actually? And he's like, I want to make detective. And he's like, okay, that's a real answer. But I love that because everybody's done that where you go to the interview where you fluff your resume and no, I want this job so I can really help. What's the first thing you do when you get in the car? Dang, 75 grand or whatever it is that you're looking for. Like, that's what you want. You want to make the money. You want to get the title. It's like that for me was, he is actually relatable in this
Yes.
role. He's not just like, oh, like saying dumb stuff. Whoever wrote this wrote it perfect. Like, that's exactly what someone would do.
Yeah. And I think that first scene is also the first scene where you see him in the car with Denzel. And so you're in Denzel's world. He's already set the tone at the diner that it's my way or the highway. And he does threaten him with a gun to the head, smoke this or you're out. And you can get out of my car right now. You're done. You can go back to the beat, do whatever else you were working on. It's something that I think everybody struggles with. Like, I want to impress my boss, but I want to make sure that I'm doing what they want me to do and doing stuff that I'm comfortable with. And how do you find that balance, especially when you have somebody who is a real alpha who you can't really get a beat on at all as the new guy? And so he doesn't want to let him down. He doesn't want to disappoint him. But at the same time, he's like, I don't know. He said everything's a test. So I'm kind of like, I don't know what to do. So he ends up smoking PCP.
Dude, it's the inner battle of wanting to impress without the expense of forgetting who you are,
100%.
without the expense of throwing away your character. And I think you go through it with so many things, even a marriage.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, what am I willing to do without throwing away who I am? And it's like this inner battle. And especially at work, it's like, I don't know how many opportunities I'm going to get. So,
Yeah.
and I have a kid at home. So you can see the struggle in this guy. Like, oh my gosh, I don't want to say yes. And then he goes, Trick, you're out. And I don't want to say no. And then so he plays it so perfect, how anyone would with that dilemma in your head.
Well said. All right. So next key scene, we're going to call these key scenes. We got Jake in the jungle. So they're driving and Lonzo's got them. I don't even know where the heck they're off to. It might have been on the way to Rogers or maybe on the way back. I'm not really sure. No, you know what? Probably on the way to Rogers because he is high at Rogers.
Yeah.
So on the way, Jake sees something while he's looking out the door, trying to figure out what kind of trip he's on. And what he sees is two guys trying to get real physical with a girl. Screams at Denzel, stop the car, stop the car, stop, stop, stop. Gets out, books it after these dudes and finds them in the alley. Hands up, and does all the cop stuff. Except he starts getting his ass kicked a little bit because it's two crackheads who don't really care and are like, oh, no, we're fine. Well, blah, blah, blah. And they start, so he gets into this big tussle and he ends up the victor. We get to this might be probably the most unexpected payoff that we've seen yet on the night shift. This move of jumping out of the car, following his instinct, following his gut, and saving that girl. And we'll get to that later. But I put myself in his shoes because in this movie, I also feel like I'm Jake. I'm not Alonzo as much as we'd all like to think that we're like, ooh, that tough guy and that sure of ourselves. Let's be honest. 99% of us are going to be Jakes in this. But seeing him do that and then seeing Alonzo turn the corner, just basically watch what's happening and just kind of smirking.
He lights a
smiling.
cigarette.
Lights a cigarette, lets him get his ass kicked, doesn't come in and help at all, just wants to see what he's made of. So you're thinking like, maybe it's part of the test. I don't know. Because at this point, you're still not totally convinced that Lonzo's evil. You're thinking like, I don't know, maybe he's just like, it's like a sick bastard who's kind of, got a weird mentorship about him. I don't know. Who knows?
I think what you're thinking at this time about Alonzo, you're still giving him grace and you're thinking, maybe he's right. Like, you focus on the narcotics and you let the beat cops deal with this stuff. Like, it kind of makes sense. Like, you're not here to clean up trash, like you said. You're here to focus on getting big felon takedowns.
Yeah. Exactly.
So you're kind of still like, he might be onto something here.
But then you see it does evolve into something a little more sinister, which is hard to believe given the given the circumstance of two crackheads trying to rape a 14-year-old girl. But you have the talking to afterwards that Lonzo gives the crackheads. He beats their ass. He just goes right after them and pulls out his guns, which I am just going to go out on a limb and say those are not department issued, those weapons.
So this is actually my favorite visual in the movie. There's a bunch, but this is number one. And he's got those, I don't know what they are, dude. Desert Eagles. They're silver.
They are.
And he rubs them together like this. No. What you said was S-my-D.
That's right.
So say it again. Am I a liar? Or did you say it? And he's rubbing them together, and I'm like, oh my dude. When he rubs them and you get to like hear the of the metal, you're like, and these are big, and he looks so sick putting them in the sides, dude.
He knows it too. He knows it.
Yes, this is why you still love him at this point in the movie.
Yes, because yet again, like the whole movie, he is commanding the room and commanding the screen. And so when he begins doing that and he just beats these guys down, it is like, you see how he treats the one guy, says, which one you want to keep? You want to keep the right or the left? I'm going to take one of them with me. I'm going to shoot one of them. And then he just ends up punching him a couple times and the guy collapses on the ground. Ethan Hawke had the other guy that he had the same opportunity to do something like that too. And that guy was talking all kinds of mad mess to him right afterwards. Let me out of here, you effing pig, and all this stuff.
We like him young.
Yeah. And then just turns his back and walks away. Keeps him cuffed though. And it's like, all right. That's also like a little foreshadowing. Lonzo's willing to do whatever he feels like doing and is good for Lonzo. Whatever, he's just impulsive, which is what the three wise men say at one point. Like, he's a hothead. He's impulsive. And then you get Ethan Hawke, who's a lot more calculated, but maybe in this instance, unknowingly so. But he makes the right decision, because we're going to get back to this scene later on. From here, we go to Rogers. What'd you think of our boy Raj?
Well, one last thing on the last scene.
Okay, go ahead.
And this is a theme throughout the movie. I brought it up earlier. This is Wolf of Wall Street level. Alonzo is selling him the entire time on, forget everything you learned about what it is to be a cop. This is it. And he's like rubbing down the two crackheads as he has them down. And he's like, he's checking them. He got their money and stuff, $60 and whatever. And he keeps it. We're going to need that later.
Yep.
But he says, you want to go to jail? And they're like, I don't care. And he's like, you got somewhere to live? And they're like, no. And he kind of looks at him like, see, they want to go to jail. So by arresting them, it's not, he's always selling in this, dude.
Yeah.
He's even selling us, but he's selling Hoyt. You can see Hoyt kind of going,
I mean, I guess I could
he's
see
kind of right. Okay, so now they go to Sandy's.
Yes.
Okay, so when they get to Sandy's, Chaboy is cooked still when he gets in there. And at this point, you're wondering kind of who Sandy is, because they dap up, and him and Denzel dap up, and then they're kind of like, who's the new guy? And then Sandy says, I remember when you were that new. And you're kind of wondering, like, was Sandy a cop before? Because he remembers when Denzel was that you were like that your first, and Denzel was like maybe the first week, but that's about it. So you're kind of wondering who Sandy is, why he's important, but you know he's a player in this somehow, and somehow he has some sort of professional relationship with Denzel, whether it was on the corruption side or maybe he was in the force. You kind of don't know who he is, and he gives Jake the most weird story about a snail that no one understands. And even Denzel's like, I didn't understand. I don't even listen to that. I don't know what that was. And then Jake says something like, really what it's all about is smiles and cries. You can't let anyone control how many smiles and how many cries you have. And Denzel was like, damn. That was actually kind of, I think it's time to go. That was actually kind of good. but that's really kind of just setting the scene of Sandy's a mystery. You know he's a player, and he's in some way in cahoots with Denzel. They kind of have a drink and they leave. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, do you think there was something else there?
So in the research, because I left every time I've seen this movie, I don't know, a dozen plus times, like start to finish. I've seen it more times than that, just jumping in randomly when it's been on cable. But in the research, I learned Roger is a corrupt, retired LAPD narcotics officer who becomes a drug dealer and close associate of Alonzo. So it makes you think. I remember, later on, Alonzo ends up going back to Roger's house and killing him and stealing a bunch of his money. I remember him leaving that scene with Jake, still shocked that Jake got back in the car with him to finish his training day. But Jake was like, and during that scene, Jake mentioned, you just shot your friend. That man wasn't my friend. That man is a drug dealer. I'd let him slide for year after year. He sold drugs to kids. Classic Denzel.
Selling again.
Selling. So then you're kind of thinking like, damn, he's like, if he's telling the truth, okay. It doesn't justify, but, I can see a world where maybe, but you just never know with Denzel because he's so good at selling that you don't know if he's telling the truth or not. So that is Roger's story, apparently. And then it makes you think, well, if that is true and he's got this big stash somewhere, what is Lonzo up to? Is he also of this same kind of ilk? He seems like he doesn't have any problem bending the rules for his benefit. So, let's see where this goes. And that it plants the seed, I think, later on, maybe like after they leave Rogers, plants the seed for like the first time. All right, something's up here. I don't know what it is yet, but I know something's going to happen.
Well,
I know it.
And then it does. Because once they leave here, they go to that famous singer's house that you brought up earlier that I forget her name.
Macy Gray.
Macy Gray, shout out. They go to her house. They got the Chinese menu.
They
got the fake warrant. And you wonder, what was the whole point of this coming in here? First off, how did Denzel know who she was? Was this something I missed in the dialogue that Roger told him? This Sandy is Roger to me, Sandman Roger.
Yeah.
Is this something he told him, hey, there could be a couple bucks here? Or is this just one of the things he knows this is a trap house? I know there's a guy here and he's usually in trouble. And so whatever, they go into this house and they have the fake warrant, and it's the best acting I think I've seen from a cameo perspective aside from Snoop Dogg. It's pretty dang close, where she's basically grilling him for being new. I want to see that warrant. I want to see that warrant. Like, it's not her first time dealing with the police ever. So she plays it so well. The boy there doesn't dap him back up when he was like, you're cool, right?
You're cool. Hey, it's cool, right?
Like, dude, it makes you kind of hate Hoyt there. You're like,
yes.
Dude.
You're like, dude, trying too hard,
You're
man.
trying too hard now. And Hoyt at this point in the movie is just recovering from, being PCP.
That's right.
So he's still kind of like, whoa, like, what's going on? I'm just going to keep doing whatever I have to do to impress my boss. Then he sees him take the money. So he might have had an inkling. The whole meeting with Sandman was crazy. The making me smoke was crazy. Starting at the diner, him being kind of rude to me. But the first time that he really starts to, oh, this guy might not be good, is when he stuffs the money.
Yeah.
But the whole point of him stuffing the money makes sense in the next scene. But I'll let you speak on your thoughts on this scene before we get there.
Well, couple of things. So that scene is a reminder of a couple things. One, you made a great point on him taking the money. So, at that point, this MF is
He's
shady.
not just talk. It's now we actually saw it.
Now we've seen it. And now it's no longer conjecture or thoughts that like, maybe he's up to something. Now he's up to something. And it ain't anything good. So he gives her the warrant. It's a takeout menu. She starts screaming. he's like, all right, we gotta go. We gotta get out of here. Jake's like, what did you just do? And as they go in, she starts try to get into the car and get out of there. She starts screaming for the whole neighborhood to come and get these guys.
Them.
And so they start like, hey, what are you doing? All of a sudden, guns are out. And Zoe's like, all right, hold up one sec. Pulls out his.
Dude.
And goes, and starts lighting it up. Oh my gosh.
It was so sick.
It was
You're
sick.
still, at this point in the movie, this is a big moment because you're going, all right, now I know he's corrupt, but now I know he's for real,
That's right.
dog. He is like, bop, bop, come get some, bop, bop. And you're just like,
okay.
my God, I feel safe and secure.
I feel safe, but also he's frightening. But you know what? We've said this before on the pod. If you're going to be about that life, you better be about that. And at that scene, you realize he is about that
He
life.
put that thing in park, and I'm about it, boy.
So he does that. You also get an idea, again, this is not LA. It's not like downtown LA or South End, like a city hub. This is like neighborhood residential, but it's Compton.
Yeah, this is Compton.
And you get an idea like, oh, damn, we are in it. And all the dynamics at play with the different gangs, with the amount of kids that are exposed to this lifestyle, the entire economy of those neighborhoods feeds off of this drug trade. And it's sad and interesting and scary. And it's scary because, not necessarily because of the drugs, even though I'm sure some people would have an opinion on that, but it's scary because of the what if. And you're going to have moments where somebody tries to rob the stash house. You're going to have moments where gunfire is going to be out and about, popping off left and right, and people are going to catch strays and stuff like that. So it was another reminder of the territory, of the environment, but also a realization that, okay, my boy is about it, dude.
This is also, for the audience, this is the epitome, this is the dichotomy of what makes this movie so good. You have the dichotomy of, this is Compton, this is danger, I'll probably never go here my entire life, but I hear about it on the news 24/7. And you have Denzel, who is a tough as nails, witty, one step ahead of you, also black guy, also wearing chains, also got double guns, also speaking the lingo. So you feel, as the audience, it's so believable. It's not just some, Brad Pitt in this neighborhood where it's like, no, this guy's, he belongs in this neighborhood and he's not afraid. Like, hold on, let me put the car in park. You're like, you kind of love him because you're like, oh my God, this is believable as hell, because no one else could pull this off besides someone of this ilk.
Yes. And it's a reminder too of the overarching theme of this, which is the street life and this idea of respect economy. Like, Denzel is going off robbing a bunch of people now because he needs to pay off a debt, because homeboy did something he shouldn't have done to somebody he shouldn't have done it to. And he is running out of time to pay off that debt. But move money aside, there is a respect economy at work here, and it is everywhere in this world, the drug world. And it comes with power, and you're really only going to get power through him. It would be the badge, and also being willing to be about that life, being willing to go the distance. And not everybody is able to do that. That's why he's got the respect that he does, and he can live where he lives, and he can do the stuff that he does, and he has the connections that he does inside, because he is ballsy. He's not loved. He's not liked at all.
He's not loved, he's not liked, but he's not a foreigner.
No.
So that's what makes him scary, is he's from here.
Yes.
He's not, that we're not like some, oh my gosh, like they're crazy. He literally sleeps here at night.
That's
So
right.
he's the guy you got to be most afraid of, because he doesn't even look at us with any like, oh my gosh, that guy's scary. He's like, no,
No,
I will put you away or I'll put a bullet in your head.
that's right. We go back to Rogers. Now.
No, we go to the diner to the Three Wise Men.
Oh, yeah.
So we go to the diner because what he stole, that $40K, is to pay for a warrant that he needs. So at the diner, he meets with the Three Wise Men, who are, one's the DA.
Yep.
One is the shooting investigator, and one is the grand theft.
The shooting investigator, funny sidebar. It's Tom Berenger, who is
I've seen him.
the original sniper or shooter or whatever. Continue.
So they go there. He basically, I didn't like this part because it makes you kind of hate Denzel. For me, this was a turning point. Go sit in the booth and shut up, or like get away from us. And
Yep.
then you're kind of like, all right, well, that
It's
was
like, let the
rude.
adults talk.
Yeah, it
and
was like,
go
that
sit
was
at the
rude.
kids'
This
table.
guy's obviously an adult. Like, they keep saying he's young, but he's got a goatee and like, he's got wrinkles. Like, he's not young. Like, they kept making him seem like he's 19, but he's not.
No, it's the oldest 19-year-old I've ever seen.
But anyways, it's weird they make him sit far away, but far away is 3 feet, and he's listening to the whole thing, like looking over, and he hears everything. But what he gets to see is, okay, well, these guys are all my superiors, and I can tell it's almost still selling, because you see that, oh, maybe I'm wrong. Like, maybe there is some back play here, some back channels behind what's supposed to be, what's actually fed to us in the news and the reporting, but what really happens behind the scenes is a little shady. Maybe I'm okay with it, maybe I'm not, but they are my superiors, so I kind of am okay with it. It's a weird thing here in this scene, but you get to see when they get in the car afterwards, because Denzel asks one of the Three Wise Men who's driving, and he says, my car. And he puts the money in the back of the car, and then he gets in and he sits next to Ethan Hawke, Jake, and Ethan Hawke says, what was that all about? Like, what are you paying him for? And he's like, do you really want to know? And he's like, I want to know. And he's like, even warrants aren't free. And he's like, I didn't want to know. I didn't want to know. And then from there, they have the money for the warrant. Then they go back to Sandman's.
Yep. And wow, what a startling reveal we get at Sandman's. So prior to going to Sandman's, they meet the whole team.
At the helipad.
At a helipad for some reason. Why are we there? Who knows? This is LA, baby. I think it's just an excuse for them to show off the cityscape.
Yeah.
So we have that, and you get to see firsthand, these guys all look like slime balls. So it's like your classic, like, all right, Jake, this is the team, and the team's like, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
We don't care about you. Just stay out of our way. Blah, blah, blah.
JB.
Like, okay, JV, back off. And he's like, I mean, God, there's nothing I can do right today. So we go to Rogers. We're back there. We talked about the scummy, guys in there. So anyways, you see the depths that Denzel is willing to go to get what he needs, and how loyalty is not something that he actually values. He just values whatever is good for Alonzo. So he takes the shotgun, tosses it to Hoyt, says, all right, go ahead, pop your cherry, kid. Come on, put one in him. He's like, okay, boom. Joking. He's like, yeah, we're not kidding.
Yeah.
You need to shoot him right now. And he's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. So that's crazy. What are you doing? This guy. What?
He's like looking around the room for like.
And the guys are like, could not be more serious.
Yeah.
Please kill this guy. And they're like, and even Roger's playing along. He's like, oh, come on, here you go, right here.
Yeah.
And so then Denzel takes it and is like, all right, well, basically, sometimes you got to do things yourself.
That's it.
Boom. Shoots him right in the chest. And he's like, all right, breathe, Roger. Breathe. That's it. And all right, he's toast. You guys get to work back there. Let's take the money. Or no, maybe right before they shot him, they busted through his kitchen floor and took out $250,000.
No, they took out $4 million, $1 million tax.
Yeah.
$3 million they split. So $1 million goes to the Three Wise Men, $1 million goes to Denzel. Then the $2 million between the 5 or 6 of them is $250 each or something.
Yeah.
So whatever it is.
Whatever it ends up being.
They each get $250,000.
That's right. And Ethan's like, we're not going to take this, right? I mean, he's like, don't you want it? Tax free? He's like, no, right?
Are you comfortable?
Oh, I'm very comfortable. Oh, I'm very comfortable. I mean, the whole time it's like that. And so I think he sees him shoot the dude. He's right before that. He's got the whole money discussion. He's like, all right, now I'm just convinced this guy is not at all who he says he should be. And I think when they're leaving Roger's house after that experience, Denzel sets him up because he knows Jake ain't with it. He might be assigned to me. He might be on my team, but he's not about this. And I got ish that I got to get done today if I want to keep breathing. So what we're going to do, and I think he's on the phone with Smiley or someone else at the gang, and he hangs up as he's telling Jake to get in the car, and then they head there. And then we get that scene, which I remember watching this for the very first time being absolutely terrified for Jake. Absolutely terrified.
Yep.
Now, each time I watch it, I get less and less terrified just because I know he makes it out alive. But still, putting myself in his shoes, being a random white guy surrounded by an entire, like, Hispanic gang and whatever party they have going on, you're inside their house, and then your ride leaves, doesn't tell you, and you know you've been set up. And then I don't know that he does the right thing in freaking out and starting to throw punches and stuff. I don't know that I would do that, but he does. And so they retaliate and start kicking his ass and bring him over to the bathtub. And then you find out, like, oh, they've been told, ice him, please. And that is when the callback comes in. And they're like, yo, get his wallet, man. Get a couple of bucks. And then they see, wait a minute. Hey, Smiley, isn't this your cousin, your little cousin, Holmes? And he says, oh, where'd you get this? And then they have that whole discussion. Saves his life.
Yep.
And you said it earlier, it's the one thing that he does all day leading up to that was his idea.
Yep.
That was him. He said, no, I'm going to trust myself. I'm going to trust my instinct. I'm going to trust my gut, and I'm going to do the right thing. Him doing the right thing saved his life, ultimately. And Denzel doing the wrong thing ends up ending his.
It's perfect full circle.
Yes. It's karma coming back. But any thoughts on the bathtub scene?
Not so much the bathtub scene. We already talked about it. Worst cameo of the whole movie. Like, that guy overacting. I hate you.
Yes.
You shouldn't be in the movie. You and Dr. Dre should just be eliminated.
You talking about Tuco or Hector?
Tuco.
Hector,
Hector I love.
There's one thing I got to say about Hector. If you look up his IMDb.
Oh, he's in everything.
Yeah, but he's in everything, but he's literally Hector.
Yeah, yeah.
Hector. I'm not joking. It's like 20 movies.
It's amazing.
God.
So for that scene, I don't like when he gives him his gun and they ask for it. You can just tell he's scared. This scene, I felt more scared for him only because he walked by 50 people getting into the party. So that's another thing, which was very smart filming, is you have to build what it feels like to be there, and it's the walk up. Because even just being at a high school party where I wasn't welcome, you feel like if something goes down here,
I'm not safe.
No, I'm done, because there's 12, 14, 16 dudes here that are together. So you feel for Jake. Maybe the last fight he had was, look, I'm just going to go down swinging.
Yeah.
That's my personality. I love that he gets saved. But the most important part about this is now, no matter what, he's done with Denzel.
Yep.
And he's strapped and ready.
This was the nail in the coffin. And so after this, he said to himself, basically, I've been pushed to the brink all day. I've done things that I am not comfortable with. And now, because I said no, and I didn't want to do this, this guy tries to kill me or have me killed? No.
Yeah.
I'm done with this. He wants to play by these rules. We're going to go find out.
Mm-hmm.
So he gets on the bus and he heads to the jungle for that final showdown. It is one of the best scenes in movie history.
Yep.
It is one of the best monologues in movie history after all the action takes place. And it is probably the best redemption that Jake could have gotten at that time. And to watch it all unfold the way that it did, with the neighborhood backing up Jake after knowing all the stuff, it's because, you know what it was? They saw him put in the work. They saw him
You got to put in the work.
do what was necessary.
But I will say, so let me just breeze through this scene. He gets there, he walks down the neighborhood, the whole neighborhood sees him, they're kind of in shock, like, why are you here? You shouldn't be here. Good luck if you're going to fight him, because he says it. Then he gets to the end and he gets to the head dude who is in a bunch of movies. He's a really good actor. I love him. But he gets to the end and he's like, I'm here for Alonzo. And you can see him just doesn't even say anything. He just turns and lets him walk by.
Moves aside.
And then he gets the kid to open the door, comes in. It's a gunfight. You get to see the sexiest woman of all time, Eva
Yes.
Mendes, shout out. Then Denzel says, I'm surgical with this shit, and starts firing off in the house, runs away. They're running on the roof. They get down. They're fighting. He jumps on the car, which is the coolest thing ever, because you think he's getting away, but the glass breaks, and Denzel ends up crashing, trying to get Jake off the car, and he's in bad shape. Then they're out fighting in the middle of the street, and basically Denzel, everyone's surrounding the whole neighborhood, and Denzel says to Jake, are you going to shoot me? And the neighborhood puts a gun down on the pavement and says, no, you got to put in your own work, because he says, Denzel says to everyone, I'll make you a rich man. I put money on his head. Who wants to do it? And none of them do, because they all hate Denzel. And this is the best monologue in the whole movie, because Denzel is basically looking around like, are y'all serious? You disloyal, unappreciative MFers. I cannot believe this. Like, you're going to do this to me? I kept you out of Pelican Bay 23 hours, isolated, 1 hour outside. And he starts screaming. You can see some of them start walking inside. They're scared. Then he goes to pick up the gun, gets shot in the ass, and he freaks out like, oh my God, you actually shot me. And you think and you're hoping that Jake shoots him.
Yes.
But Jake doesn't. He's still a good old boy, doesn't shoot him. And then you think the gang is going to shoot him, because they say, we got it from here, and lets Jake walk off. And he's just like, Jake, Jake. He's yelling for him, which I love when he yells
took the
for
money.
him. He took the money. I just want the money. He's like still money hungry. He doesn't even care about his bleeding out right now. But
No.
The thing that I didn't like, but I think it was a good choice by the writers. You thought the gang in the neighborhood would have shot Denzel.
Yeah.
They were still scared. They still respected him.
Yeah.
He's such a good salesman. Even when he's dying and he has no power, he's looking at him like, you shoot me, that's it. This whole block's on fire.
It's the gas
I
chamber
got
for you.
platoons. I got Pelican Bay on speed dial, boy. So you know he got out of there, and you're thinking, damn it, dude.
This guy.
He's driving away. Like, what's going to happen? Then the best thing that could happen, the Russians at the stoplight.
They are some cold MFs. You know, I will say, there is a comedian out there that made a joke about this, but it's very true. It's like, black people really aren't afraid of white people very often, but you start talking like this with accent, all of a sudden it gets very, they're like, okay, maybe that's not the target we want.
Yeah, 'cause that's like a different.
It's different, bro.
It's foreign, so it's naturally scary.
It is naturally scary. I love that scene. And then naturally pun intended, we get the Russians lighting him up at a stoplight, doesn't have any money, and no go. That's it for Lonzo.
He was late.
Movie done. Pretty cool way to go out.
Yeah.
You know, I thought it was a great ending. Didn't really need to see anything that happened to Jake after that.
Nope.
You
You already know what he's going to do.
know what he's going to do. He's going to turn it in or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, man, I don't know that it deserved a sequel or a prequel or anything like that. I think it was a perfect encapsulation of the time period of that story and that day, and I am glad that they did it that way. So, Fuqua, I think this was Denzel's push for him. He said, I got to have this guy do it. And he's going to do this movie. Because it was his first like big movie. The studio, once they signed him on, we're like, all right, co-star. And Denzel was like, I want Ethan Hawke. And they're like, no, we don't want him. It's like, fine, then I'm not doing the movie unless he's in it. So that's the guy for this. He will play it perfectly, the exact way that it needs to be played. You don't get him, I'm not doing the movie.
Wow,
Like,
I didn't know that.
All right, fine, jeez, give him to you. Golly. So, also, Denzel's call. He got the ending changed to have that ending.
Wow.
He made everything personal between Jake and Alonzo. And I think that was the way to go because like I said, this is such an intimate movie because it's really following just these two guys throughout one single day. I think it needed to end that way. If it starts with, if the whole gang does it or so, I don't know. There's other alternate endings you could have come up with, but I think the way that they did it was chef's kiss. Perfect encapsulation of that day. It was shot in the jungle, which is the Imperial Courts. So there were real gangs on set, real locals.
Except for Cheeseburger Eddie.
Except for Cheeseburger Eddie, bro.
I did not like to see him. He's like clapping for birds.
Yes, dude. This is the first movie that was allowed to shoot inside those projects.
Wow.
There was a silent Bloods versus Crips standoff on set. There was no acting required for that. They actually did that. The improv that was basically the trailer for the movie, King Kong ain't got on me. That was an improv.
Wow.
I mean, shot once, made the trailer, made history. Because when you think of this movie, you think of that.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've said that at home. Like, it's incredible. And that is just the brilliance of Denzel.
This is his range.
Yes.
I can be just like CIA calculator, or I can go full hood on your ass.
Let's get into the awards real quick before we wrap it. One perfect shot in this movie. I got one for you.
Okay, you
Mine
go first. Yeah.
Jake walking away at dawn. I think that you think that Denzel is dead at the end of it, but you see that Jake is beaten and battered, literally and figuratively, but he's also walking away. And I think that's symbolism. I think Ethan Hawke looked like a freaking badass, and he also finally stood up for himself, but him walking in to the jungle and then walking out on his own is just symbolic in its own right. So that was my favorite shot of this.
I guess my favorite shot, I'm sure there's another one, but this one that comes straight to the top of the dome here would be, and it just shows his superiority, his dominance, his abuse of power, is the stopping in the middle of the red light, pulling the gun out for him to smoke it, and the guy beeping, and he's like, say what? And you can see the guy like, you're good. You're good. Just, it just showed like, oh my God, he runs this town.
That's right. Crazy. Do you have a favorite line besides King Kong ain't got ish on me?
Just him yelling Jake's name, or
Jake.
I like when Denzel is he's got the bullets and Snoop Dogg's like spit out the stuff and he goes 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. That I loved. That was just swaggy.
It was cool, man. I liked, you want to go to jail or you want to go home? I liked, this shit's chess, not checkers. And so anything where Denzel is talking and he's selling somebody on something.
Yes.
I'm just mesmerized.
Or when Snoop's like, crack? You want crack? Okay, hell no. You guys smell like bacon in here.
Smell like bacon up in this. And then Denzel looks at Jake and he's like, go on, get him.
Yep, go get him.
Seriously? He's on a...
Go hunt. You're a wolf.
This guy? Come on. I love that. If there was anything that you could take from the set for this movie, have it at home on display, what are you taking?
like probably can't have the car in my house.
It's a BA car, man.
Either his jewelry with his jacket, his black jacket, or his guns inside the holster hanging.
Yes,
I
the
think
Desert
that-
Eagles.
The Desert Eagles in the holster.
That's what I was going to go with. The Desert Eagles, man. The best performance here, I mean, anybody but Denzel is probably pushing it. But I don't know. Ethan Hawke was really
Close.
with, let's go best role performance then. Best performance in a smaller role. I mean, never mind. I already know what you're going to say. Eva Mendes was tremendous on that.
No, in a smaller role, probably Sandman.
I actually do think he was great.
He was great.
I thought he was awesome. Do you like the name of the movie? Is there an
Yeah, no, I
alternate
think
name?
it's perfect. I think that's
Well said. And all right. I mean, I think that's it. Is there anything else that we haven't covered on this one that you want to dive into real quick before we jump?
Can't say that I do.
All right. Sweet. Y'all, that's going to be it for this night shift. Quick and dirty. We did Training Day, covering Alonzo Harris, the Stephen A. Smith of bad guys.
That is exactly who
He is the Stephen A. Smith of bad guys.
Ooh, he talks like he's one of us, but he's really not. We all know.
Oh my God, he's the only villain who gets killed and still wins the movie. This man can do no wrong. I love Denzel. Ethan Hawke, phenomenal in this. So if you're an Ethan Hawke fan, great movie for you. You've probably already seen this a million times, but go see it again. If you need something really to uplift you this holiday season, it is a doozy. That's going to be it for the night shift. We are clocking out right now, and we'll catch you next time. Hopefully give you something nice and interesting. And just remember, King Kong ain't nothing on